conversation with good friend Solitary Ronin has started on his channel around one director, 4 films, where he nominates a director. He seems to be doing these in quick fire, succession. So I'm gonna have to record and be on top of these videos for any that I want to concentrate on. And it's where you pick one director and you nominate 4 films from that director. 1 that's their bona fide classic, 2 your favourite, 3 the underrated or underseen gem, and 4 the lesser and least of their movies, even given that a lot of these directors are so great that there's no such thing as a bad film in their books. It's kind of like, what is their least, or what's the one that you consider to be the one that maybe leave to last, I think is probably a good way to put it. If you're a new film fan, this is a place to kind of start from in terms of trying to build out your knowledge, or the types of films that you might want to see. These are a lot of the greatest directors that ever lived, a lot of the greatest storytellers that ever lived. And if I'm giving you a classic, a favourite, and a gem, there's 3 films with which to make a great start on. So I'm gonna tell you who the director is, and it's this guy, Boji, Akira Kurosawa. If you don't recognize him from his picture, it'll probably be in the thumbnail as well. I always forget that, But anyway, his classic. Now, I think for Kurosawa, most of his films have been considered a classic. I think the one that is most recognizable for most people is Seven Samurai. And Seven Samurai is indeed an absolute classic of a film, but it's also incredibly long. On 207 minutes, and for that reason, I'm not going to suggest Seven Samurai, although I think it's a very acceptable answer. The one that I am going to suggest is Rashomon. Rashomon's a story that kind of details and talks about the unreliable narrator. So it tells the story of an event or a crime that happens, and it tells you from the different people's points of views. So from the person who's involved in the crime, both the good, the bad, the ugly, if you want to suggest that, and shows you the story from each from their own point of views, and you decide which is the correct one, what's the most likely thing to have happened in this sense. It's not a long film. It's 88 minutes, under an hour and a half, but it very tightly and beautifully illustrates kind of the concept of the unreliable narrator, and how you can only ever believe from one person's point of view so much. But I think it shows you the masterful way of storytelling. Like I say, it's developed from a short story, even from a rather longer form novel, and it's one that I'll have to dig out a translated version of that short story, because everything in this film from start to finish, in terms of the location it's shot, the way that it's shot, the way that the nature that is shot in the location, the way the characters are portrayed and changed through the different depictions of the story, and also how it's the change in look of it is different from where it's being told from the actual event. There's a lot of changes, and for a film that's in monochrome and black and white, it's amazing what you can achieve, and I think goes to really show how incredible a director that Akira Kurosawa really was. Going to my favourite, again, a lot of choices in here. I still think my favourite film that I've seen from Akira Kurosawa is Akira. And Akira tells the story of this man swinging on a swing there, of a guy who's given his life over to his work or his day job, and he's kind of missed an awful lot of what life has to offer because of this, and he comes to a realization about this when he gets some bad news about his own health. And it's then about the genesis of him finding himself in whatever way you find yourself, and it's beautiful, it's poetic, it's really touching in ways that maybe I don't think Rashomon or Seven Samurai or Yojimbo or something like that really is. It is a much softer centre. I think that actually this softer centre is at the heart of some of the later cinema that Kurosawa does, but there's just something about Ikiru that I just find remarkable and special, and one that I will gravitate to quite often. So Ikiru is my favourite. The underrated or unseen gem, again, I've still quite a lot of Kurosawa's catalogue to watch myself, so I couldn't pick some of the more obscure ones But the one that I have seen that I think is underseen and underrated is Dreams. This is his second last, maybe, something like that, from 1919 anyway. It's 2 hours long, and it is a compilation of short stories, nearly to come full circle from the Rashomon thing again, where it's one story told from multiple perspectives. This is interlocking stories, and again showcases just how varied and brilliant storyteller Kurosawa was. The locations are different from each one. The imagery that he captures for each story is different. The emotions that he's pulling together are very different. And Dreams in general are depictions of dreams that Kurosawa had over the period of his life and that he put down in film form, and kind of created this through loose narrative for. And I think it's absolutely wonderful film. It'll not hit for everybody because it is disjointed in these short stories, but I think you get a real sense of what an incredible filmmaker that Kurosawa is. And when you're considering you're wanting to think about how you can appreciate the art form of cinema a bit more, look at the different colour palettes. Look at the costumes that are different in here, because this was the same kind of genesis of coherent thought and how he represents that, and then look at the through line through all of it and see what things you can come up with, because I think you'll find a lot in Dreams. And my one that's the worst, least seen, one that you see last, I don't really have an awful lot to go on, because the pre-samurai era Kurosawa is some of the stuff that I think is that I just haven't seen the least of. So, but I am going to pick one of those, because I think everything from after that I've seen has just been outstanding. To even pick something there would be not right. But I'm going to pick Sanshiro Sagata, which is his first film about judo. You know, there's not too many films about judo. He's done a couple of them. Johnny Toe's done one. It's not that it's a bad movie. In fact, maybe I'm saying this because the print that I've seen isn't overly fantastic, but it's the one that I have got the least out of, I think it's fair to say, rather than it being a bad movie. Although it does kind of show a lot of his genesis as a filmmaker, even in his early days, the kind of things that he set out to do, the kind of first person perspective. Except there's a lot to see in Sagata. Maybe it's a terrible choice. It's certainly interesting, but in terms of a lot of the things that come after it that I've seen anyway, it's at the bottom. It's a great topic to discuss. If you've got anything to contribute towards this yourself, you can put it in the comments of my video. You can put it in the comments of Ronin's video, leave linked in the description, and go and watch that out, because there are a lot of great suggestions in there as well. Thank you so much, Ronin, for doing this. That's my contribution to it. Probably inept and underseen in that regards, but definitely a lot of fun. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon. Take care.